and speak. I mean, what do we need more than what we've just had to worship? And yet, the more I tried, the more God said, no, not because I need to get words out, not because I need to talk, not because I can't share, this this woman or this but there's a message here in Joshua. We've been in Joshua the last several weeks, and there is a message here in Joshua 7 that is a turning point in their story, the Israelite story, and it's a message that I needed for me personally, and God kept telling me somebody needed this message today too. So I asked them to stay up here so that I wouldn't get too long. And he could just start playing, if it starts getting too if I get too wordy or whatever, and I'll know that that's my cue to stop. So let's jump in here in Joshua chapter 7. We're actually going. I want to look first at verse 27 of chapter 6. This point in the story, remember last week, God tumbled the walls of Jericho and the Israelites marched in. God had already told the people of Israel, told Joshua, see, I have delivered them into your hands. He had already won the victory right before it had ever taken, before any battle had taken place. God had already won the victory for them. He had prepared it. He had made it happen. And we saw last week it came true. And in verse 27 of chapter 6, it says, so the Lord was with Joshua, and his fame spread throughout the land. Things are great. The promises are coming true. They're coming into the promised land. They've taken the very first and the very best of the promised land that God was going to give them, except he said, you can't have anything of Jericho because it all belongs to me. Jericho is completely and totally devoted to me, so you can't have it. You can't have anything. And so, chapter 7, verse 1, we see this three-letter word, but. Now, if you know anything about, sentence structure, whatever, a story, once you say the word but, what happens? Everything that comes before it. Right, okay? And so all of the blessings, all of the promises, every good thing that God had given them, we find this word but. And we find ourselves a lot of times on this other side of the word but. And that's what I want to address for just a few minutes here. 7 verse 1. But the Israelites acted unfaithfully in regard to the devoted things. Achan, son of Carmi, the son of Zimri, the son of the tribe of Judah, took some of the devoted things. So the Lord's anger burned against Israel. What happens when we take things that don't belong to us? When we take something that belongs to God, especially what happens to our relationship with God when we take something that belongs to Him? Well, the story of the Israelites here reveals exactly what happens. They are so proud, and they're so proud of what they've just accomplished with Jericho. They scout out the next target, and they say, yep, we can do this. We're in. 40 years ago, remember, they said, no, we can't, we're scared. Now, all of a sudden, they've got all this confidence in the Lord, right? And yeah, let's take it. And they move forward to Ai, and what happens at Ai? 36 of them die. They're defeated. 3,000 soldiers and 36 of them die, and they're routed by the people, and they're like, uh-oh, what's happening? Why? What in the world is going on? And that's when God revealed to Joshua, somebody's taken from me, belongs to me. And he reveals to Joshua exactly who it was that took something from him and caused them to find defeat against their enemy. And in verse 19 of chapter 7, we pick up in the story here. Then Joshua said to Achan, my son, give glory to the Lord, the God of Israel, and give him the praise. Tell me what you have done. Do not hide it from me. And Achan replied, it's true. I've sinned against the Lord, the God of Israel. This is what I've done. When I saw in the plunder a beautiful robe from Babylonia, 200 shekels of silver, and a wedge of gold weighing 50 shekels, I coveted them and took them. They're hidden in the ground inside my tent, silver underneath. Friends, we can't hide things from God, because God knows. Everything that we think we have hidden from God, He knows exactly where it is, especially if it belongs to Him. Don't you think that He knows where His things are? He can't lose anything. Nothing is out of His sight. You can't hide anything from God. And it's not just stuff that you can't hide from God. You remember Adam and Eve, when they sinned, what did they try and do? They tried to hide from God. He knew where they were. See, we belong to God. We are His stuff. You remember back in Joshua chapter 3, verse 5, you remember what a few weeks ago when we preached through this particular passage, then Joshua told the people, consecrate yourself, for tomorrow the Lord will do amazing things among you. Listen, we are, if you know Jesus Christ as your personal Lord and Savior, if you've said yes to Him and you've given your life to Him, guess what? You have devoted yourself. You are a devoted thing of God. You belong to Him. And what happens sometimes as we go along through life? We decide, okay, God, you can have this and this and this, but I kind of want that, this looks good to me, and I want this, and I'm going to hide that from you. I don't want you to have it. I want this still. I know you say that this belongs to you, but I kind of want it to belong to me, and I'm going to hide it over here behind my back a little bit so you can't see it. You don't know where it's at. And guess what happens? When you try to hide something, when you try to hide any piece of you from God, you'll face defeat in the next step forward in whatever you do. The enemy will begin to have victory over you instead of God having victory in your life and you overcoming whatever is to come. When we hide things from God, He knows where it is always. If we are consecrated, devoted to God, then all of us belongs to Him. Romans chapter 12, verse 1. I want to close with this verse as I encourage you. Therefore, I urge you, brothers, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as living sacrifices, holy and pleasing to God, which is your spiritual act of worship. When God says, it's mine, when God says, you're mine, we give all of ourselves to Him, and we don't keep anything from Him. And when we can do that, when we lay ourselves down as a living sacrifice and say, I belong to you, I am devoted to you wholly and completely. There is nothing in my life or about my life that I am hiding and that I want to hide from you. I am an open book because you see it anyway. When we deceive ourselves into thinking we can hide something from God, the truth is you can't. So we have the freedom. I mean, it's like, okay, I feel guilty. I don't want God to know, so I'm going to try and hide something from Him. And the truth is, we are free to be honest with Him always about everything. There's freedom in that, in not having to hide from Him anything, because He already knows. And He loves you anyway. And when you're completely and totally sacrificially prostrate before Him and say, I'm yours, and you find victory in your life. In everything you move forward. Doesn't mean your life is always easy, but it means you'll always find victory because He has won the victory for us. He'll give us an opportunity to make a decision for Jesus. Say yes to Him, devote yourself fully and completely, 100%. Nothing hidden from Him. Right now. I'm going to pray. song, and I'm going to ask you to choose.